So here's that new listing I was telling you about. So how have you been lately? Seems like forever since the last time we got together to have coffee. I think it was after that meeting where the governor was proposing that Colorado water plan.
Yes, that's when it was. You know, I've been really busy. My family's doing great, but I can't really say that about my business.
Really? What's up with that?
Well, I have a lot of clients who want to sell pieces of land, and I even have a few buyers. But the lack of irrigation water is leading to transactions not closing.
I don't really list a lot of land. I deal with a lot of residential properties. So I guess I should keep up on this stuff so I know what's going on.
Yes, it's important for every realtor to know what's going on because the legislature and Congress really do have the power to make or break us with the bills they pass.
Have you talked to any lawmakers about the water plan the governor's trying to pass?
Yes, I actually did. Representative Don Coram co-sponsored several bills in regards to water and conservation. One of them had to do with the water plan. The most interesting part was about how the tamarisks and the Russian olives are taking over our waterways. Can you believe they're consuming 170,000 acre feet of water? That's taking away from our irrigation. Another thing that came up was that folks on the Front Range are wanting trans-mountain diversion put into the water plan.
What's the purpose of a water plan anyway?
Well, it's to set policy regarding conservation and the development of our waterways. It's really pretty important for us to know about as realtors because it affects us, but it also really affects those, our clients who are using the water every day.
Why should I be concerned if I deal mostly with residential properties?
Well, every person in the state should care, just because if we don't have enough water, people aren't going to be buying houses, they're not going to be buying land here.
What can we do with our small association? We're just a drop in the bucket, so to speak, compared to the Front Range.
Well, the best thing we can do is know who is running for office, see what they stand for, and support who thinks like we do.
I don't really like politics.
It's not really a matter of politics, it's a matter of survival for our industry. We need to be supporting RPAC because by giving to RPAC, we can have a say in who is elected into office.
Why do I need to give to RPAC? I already paid my dues this year. Isn't that the kind of thing that they're used for?
Well, not really. The local dues go toward things like government affairs, communication, education. But contributing to RPAC is the only way that we can have a say in who gets elected and who sets our policy.
I'm not sure if I contributed to RPAC this year. How can I find out?
You can contact the local MAR office and they keep track of that. Here's the truth, folks. If we are not at the table, we will likely be on the menu. I've contributed my fair share, which is $25 to the RPAC fund, and I'd really encourage you to do the same.
It's important for people to be involved in the elections because elections only happen one day out of the year. But the people you send to represent you at the Capitol are making decisions that impact you 365 days out of the year. So that the time that is spent to get to know your candidates, to get to know the issues they stand for, to give them your input about what's important that impacts you on a daily basis is very well spent, and it helps make that candidate a better representative for you should he or she get elected. Colorado has a citizen legislature, and that means there's 100 people who are trying to make decisions, everything from our highways to energy to real estate efforts to healthcare, education, you name it. None of us are an expert in all of those areas. So we rely on our constituents to give us input, to give us background, to help us judge bills as to whether or not they should become laws. And I am very dependent on my constituents to give me that kind of information. I welcome it, they email me, they call me, but that helps me do a better job for them up at the Capitol. If you find a candidate that you're particularly interested in supporting, all of us candidates need help with getting signs out, having coffees, meeting your neighbors, talking about issues that are important. After the election, once somebody's elected, they still need that kind of contact. I can speak for myself. I don't have a paid campaign team. I rely on volunteers, and those volunteers have been so helpful to me over the years. Even just riding with me as I travel around the district can be a big help. There are some people who have a problem with donating to a political action committee, in part because it's not an individual donation. I think there are many ways that people can contribute and help. So a political action committee, though, is more powerful in the sense that people coalesce around a certain group and give a larger donation. But I think it's good to recognize that some folks have a problem with that. That doesn't mean, even if they're not comfortable with a PAC donation, still there's many ways that they can support a candidate, and hopefully they'll do that. So to have some help buying signs, paying for things at meet and greets, having those coffee and donut type events, those can be very helpful, and donations help pay for that. Many people who have moved into Colorado from, say, the East Coast don't have the same kind of issues that we do here. There's an education curve that they need to go through, and when they're dealing in a real estate transaction, that's an important topic to cover with people if they also need to purchase water rights as well as buying the property. Another issue that comes up a lot is things like split estates, where in the West, oftentimes somebody purchases the surface but not the land underneath it. And as we have more and more mineral development, such as oil and gas, there's a role to be played there for the realtor to make sure that the consumer knows what he or she is buying. Legislators are asked to vote on so many different things that having a connection with their constituents before the day of the vote so that they know who are the realtors that live in their community that they can outreach to or that they can expect will call them or email them to give them input, that's very important. That's very valuable. So I would encourage every realtor in Colorado to get to know their state representative and their state senator long before Election Day, so that when they see a pressing need or they hear about a bill coming forward, they can get in touch, because legislators are really just citizens with a temporary job of going to Denver, but with a very important job to vote representing a lot of people. The better informed we are, the better job we can do.